Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I'm going to give a field report for 1 hour Dungeons & Dragons, and I'm going to tell you what happened in Session 1 of 1 hour Dungeons & Dragons, Laser Sights and Last Rites. Alright, here we go. Alright, so I've been running this for 3 weeks now, 3 separate sessions, and this is Session 1. This is a 1 hour adventure that was run. I use Dungeons & Dragons, 1 hour Dungeons & Dragons, and I run with the current Perkinian Dungeons & Dragons, the 2014 PHB DMG Monster Manual. And what I'm doing is I'm running a modern campaign, and the campaign is the player character is a one-on-one game. It's designed to be one-on-one. It's designed to have a complete adventure in 1 hour each week. Right? And it's an exploration of a player playing a contract killer player character, right? So it's really and I use the Dungeons & Dragons engine because all I have to say is, hey, this is D&D current edition, and players flock because it's so easy to sell a D&D game because everybody wants to play it. And the reason everybody wants to play it is because of Stranger Things and Community and Big Bang Theory and the Satanic Panic and any other OSR or indie game. I'd have to drag people to it. All I need to do is say Dungeons & Dragons. I don't need to drag anybody. The table fills. That's why I run Dungeons & Dragons. All right. So I'm using Dungeons & Dragons to run this modern contract killer genre tabletop role-playing game, actually campaign to contract killer campaign, and this is Session 1. So I want to tell you a little about my player. I'm going to call him the Hogan player. I make sure all my players are anonymous only because I've been doing this for 8 years, and I say things that other D&D commentators don't, and I get enemies because of it. Like, I just get people that line up in the comments, and I don't ever want to visit those problems on my players. So that's why I anonymize my players, right? Because I want my problems to be my problems and not my players' problems. That's why I anonymize every player I ever have. So there you go. All right, so I'm going to call this player the Hogan player, and the reason why is after Hulk Hogan. This guy, he's a great player. I really enjoy playing with him. His main jam in the world is professional wrestling. He really likes professional wrestling. He likes old school professional wrestling. He likes new school professional wrestling. He has met easily probably 25 to 50 actual very high-end professional wrestlers. He actually owns real WWE, WWF wrestling belts. He's a huge wrestling fan, right? So that's my player. All right, so the Hogan player. So we sit down, and by the way, I'm running 1 hour's Dungeons & Dragons Garibay style, which means we're using official D&D, official physical products that are connected by license to Dungeons & Dragons. So all the material I'm using. So we use the official Yahtzee D&D Dice Tower, and it has mechanical benefits. The dice have mechanical benefits. We use Magic the Gathering Dungeons & Dragons cards for experience. In order to level, you need to get a dungeon map. That's an MTG card. And you need to get a red, white, blue, green, black dragon. Okay? And so, a full set of the chromatics, right? And then you level, right? And then finally, we are using the official Legos, which recently click connected to official D&D. So I use all official physical products that are officially connected to Dungeons & Dragons. It's a big thing for me. I walk the walk. I don't just talk the talk, all right? So my physical platform for 1 hour D&D for this Laser Sights and Last Rites is using official D&D Yahtzee, using official Legos, which are officially connected to Dungeons & Dragons now through the official product that we're soon getting, which will be the result of the official contest. So so there is an official D&D product which is upcoming, and then finally Magic the Gathering, which has been connected 100 different ways since James Wyatt initially connected them through the Plane Shift Dominaria, right? Okay. So basically, here's what happened in Session 1. So the game opens, and the contract killer arrives in Atlanta at a Chinese restaurant, which is actually a front for a mahjong parlor in the back. So the contract killer is brought in, taken to the mahjong parlor, taken through the mahjong parlor, taken into a basement below there, and he meets and he is escorted by a low level like assistant who takes him to and his name is Feng Xiao, and he is a martial artist, and he escorts the contract killer all the way to the basement below the mahjong parlor and connects him to Sarah. Sarah is the daughter of the Gray Wolf. The Gray Wolf is the #1 contract killer in America at the time. He has 125 confirmed kills within the contract killer, sphere, and he is widely regarded as the most dangerous contract killer in the United States, right? And he has the biggest name, Gray Wolf, right? And so Sarah is the daughter of the Gray Wolf. The Gray Wolf is now between 50 and 60 years old. Nobody knows exactly. And he has a daughter who named Sarah, who he's trying to reconnect with, right? And the daughter Sarah, who disconnected with him 10, 15 years ago because he's a contract killer and she didn't want to see all the things that were happening in his life, he's now trying to redeem himself to his daughter. And his daughter says, what I really, I want to become a writer, and if you really want to do something for me, I don't care about money. What I really care about is I want to advance my writing career, and I want to write a book about modern contract killers. So I want you to connect me with contract killers who owe you. I want to interview them, 7 sessions per contract killer. Connect me to 10 of them. That'll give me 7 interviews. That'll give me more than enough material to write my book. I will anonymize all of them, and I will protect their identities, but this is what I want. And if you do this, I'm going to bring you back into my life, right? So the Gray Wolf has a lot at stake here. And so this contract killer player character is brought to his interview with Sarah. And Sarah gets 3 questions at every interview. So she said, so she introduced herself as Sarah. He introduces himself as Sean, and he says, "You're protecting my identity, correct?" And she says, "Yes." And he says, "My name is Sean Hartfield." And so the player is giving me the character's name there, right? And what we're using the Sarah sessions to actually build out the character during play, right? And so we started play very, very quickly, right? And so I said, you're 5th level. You have +3 in all physical attributes, +1 in all your mental attributes. You have a proficiency of +3, and we just and literally that was it. We started immediately. So I'm playing Dungeons and Dragons now with 0 build up, right? There's no there's no session 0. There's no bringing spending an hour and a half making a character. We build during play, right? You don't even need your name to start in my Dungeons and Dragons games. In my 1 hour Dungeons and Dragons game right now, I literally am going to give you a +1 in your physicals or a +1 in your mentals, and then I'm going to give you a +1 and a +3. +3 for all your physical attributes, or +3 for all your mental attributes, and then the opposite +1 on the other side, and then a +3 proficiency. Literally, I can start, and this whole 1 hour Dungeons and Dragons is real. I'm not, 1 hour Dungeons and Dragons session where we're just spend an hour and 45 minutes building your character, because it's not really I'm not serious, but I'm deadly serious about this 1 hour D&D, right? It is real 1 hour D&D, and we just go, right? And so, and we discover the character as we play, because I think that's just a better model, right? And it is working. My table blew up 2 months ago, and I lost every player I had. Now, a month and a half later, I'm up and running again, right? Which is great, and I'm really excited about it. And one of the things is the table blow up a while ago has forced me to rethink, what do I want to do with Dungeons & Dragons? What do I want to play? Where do I want to go? How do I want to help people? And it's made me recraft every single one of these. It's really made me really think about what I want to do with Dungeons & Dragons, right? So it's great, and I really like it. So Sarah asks him, so Sarah starts in with the questions, right? And so so her first question is, why did you get into this? Why did you start doing this? And he says, and so Sean Hartfield answers, I started contract killing because I realized violence was something that I was very good at, and I wanted to have a significant sum of money because I didn't have a lot of money, right? And so and then she and she says, so you're just motivated by money? That was her second question. And he said, no, I was a black hat killer for 15 of my contracts, and now I have 17 contracts completed under white hat. And so then he explains black hat and white hat. And what I really loved about this was session 0 in the game, right? I absolutely love this. He was saying, hey, I am a contract killer, right? And I was a traditional contract killer, do it for the money, kill anybody who I got a contract on. But now I'm a white hat, I'm a white hat contract killer, and I only take jobs for people who deserve a good killing, right? And so at this point, he only takes targets who are known to be killers themselves and who have taken lives without reason, right? And so that was, I really love the way this player was actually drawing a line around where they wanted the game to be, which is really excellent. And then finally she said, what you do is incredibly difficult, and and so the question was, and it's challenging, and I watched my father really struggle with I watched my father really struggle with this, with all of this, and actually, so he explains that she really watched her father struggle to be a contract killer, and it really put an incredible amount of strain on her relationship with her mother, right? And so she says, I needed, and at this point, I needed to, I need to know what your relationship is. How has you being a contract killer affected your relationship? And he said, well, you're 100% right. I have had relationships. I've been in love probably with the number of women I've been in love with, I can count on one hand, and it hasn't worked out with any of them. And I've really struggled to build a solid romantic relationship with any of them, right? And so she's like, hey, I really appreciate your honesty. Thank you for your openness. And at that point, the session with Sarah was over, and she, and she's like, thank you for answering these questions, and now, I need to, and she says, I'm going to take your notes, I'm going to make sure this is all anonymous. And so she breaks off with him, and at that point, Sean Hartfield thanks Feng Xiao for leading him to the interview site, and then goes out and calls his handler, right? And in my next video, I'll tell you exactly what happened from there.